You look at the man, the icon, the one who literally titled himself Love. You see the yachts, the champagne raining down, the dazzling smile that told the world, I am the blueprint. I am the dream. But how often do we stop to look past the velvet rope? How often do we consider the cost of that empire, not in dollars, but in broken promises and shattered souls? There's this feeling I can't shake, a hollow echo when I think about it. It's the sound of a dream turning into a nightmare, the kind that plays out on the 6 o'clock news. Because every single one of us has chased some kind of Puff Daddy fantasy, the idea that you can have it all, be unstoppable, live above the rules. But the universe? She keeps the books. And when the bill comes due, it is always more than you ever budgeted for. That blinding light of fame? It doesn't just illuminate the good, it casts the most horrifying shadows. Hey, welcome back to Pop Break. I've got the kind of story today that you need to be sitting down for, the kind that makes you question everything you thought you knew about the man who soundtracked our lives. The biggest news dominating the feeds right now isn't a new album or a jet-setting party. It's a grainy, black and white image from a CCTV camera. A frame frozen in time that speaks volumes. It's Sean Diddy Combs, or just inmate 55432, as he's known now, and his laughing. Let that sink in. The mogul who once hosted the world's most exclusive parties, the man with a $500 million fine to his name, now finds himself in a special housing unit at a federal correctional facility, serving a 50-month sentence for his conviction on 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. But here's the twist that's got everyone talking. This isn't solitary confinement. This isn't a dark dungeon. Insiders confirm he's been moved into a unit dedicated to inmates in drug treatment programs. A smart move by his legal team, mind you, because participation could potentially shave time off his sentence. And in this new environment, Fox 5 NY's Lisa Evers reports he was spotted on CCTV camera, having a good time with other inmates, laughing and playing. The internet exploded. How could the man at the center of such harrowing charges, facing a sentence that tore down his entire public facade, look so relaxed? It felt like a punch to the gut for the people he hurt. The man who orchestrated chaos now finds camaraderie in a concrete yard. It's a jarring contrast, a cinematic betrayal of expectations. To understand the weight of that laugh, we have to rewind. We have to go back to the shiny suit era, the late 90s, when Puff Daddy wasn't just a rapper, he was a whole mood. He was the CEO of Bad Boy Records, a label built on swagger, flash, and that undeniable hip-hop hustle. Think about the sheer force of his ambition. It wasn't enough to make hits, he had to make culture. He taught a generation that success meant luxury. He created an aura of untouchable power, where his word was law, and the party never, ever stopped. But as the years went on, a darker whisper started following the echo of the bass line. You heard the rumors about the infamous freak-offs, the alleged coercion, the control that went beyond professional mentorship and spiraled into something deeply, fundamentally abusive. This wasn't just celebrity gossip, this was a shadow creeping over the industry's soul. The turning point, the emotional anchor of this whole tragic story, has to be the women, the victims who finally found the courage to speak. Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, though swiftly settled, was the first seismic crack in the foundation of his empire. Her testimony, and the gut-wrenching details of the alleged abuse and manipulation she endured for a decade, wasn't just news, it was an emotional gut punch to every fan who had danced to their songs. Sources close to the legal teams say the trial laid bare a pattern of behavior that felt more like a mafia boss than a music exec. He was found guilty on those transportation charges, a direct violation of a Mann Act, a conviction that hinges on the act of transporting people across state lines for illicit sexual activities. The verdict wasn't the life sentence the prosecution sought, but it was an undeniable, historic confirmation of his alleged crimes. He was acquitted of the sex trafficking and racketeering charges, which left a lot of people feeling incomplete. But the world finally had an answer. The crown was tipped. The question now was, how far would it fall? The fallout has been cataclysmic. It wasn't just one celebrity's career, it was an entire generation's mythology collapsing. Fans noticed immediately the quiet, panicked removal of his products. Diddy's Ciroc vodka partnership was quietly dissolved. The music stopped being played at some major venues. It was a digital erasure that showed the sheer power of public morality finally kicking in. The man who invented the brand first, celebrity CEO model, saw his own brands reject him. It's the ultimate irony. But the real, heartbreaking conflict is playing out in the private lives of those closest to him. His children, some of whom spoke at the sentencing, are caught in a nightmare of their own making, forced to publicly reconcile their father's immense good deeds with the horrifying public truth of his alleged actions. According to insiders, there is a deep, agonizing division in the family about how to handle the legacy, a mix of fierce loyalty, disbelief, and profound shame. One of his sons was reportedly quoted by a social media fan account saying, "I just wish the world could see the man we knew, not the headline everyone is reading." It's a cry of pure heartbreak, the sound of a private life being mercilessly exposed. And the victims? Their silence now speaks louder than any statement. Sources say for them, the sight of Diddy laughing, playing in a housing unit that offers a path to early release, must feel like a cruel mockery. A man who allegedly treated people like pawns on his private game board is now getting a shot at redemption because he chose to focus on a drug program. It suggests a profound lack of remorse to some, a continued prioritization of self-preservation over genuine accountability. The system that sentenced him is now also providing him a comfortable path out. That paradox is the true heart of the conflict, the collision between legal justice and moral satisfaction. What drives a billionaire to risk everything for more? That's the question we all wrestle with. Was it simple jealousy of a world he couldn't completely control? Was it the crushing weight of a life built on a lie, where the pop break, the private moment to be human, was replaced with endless performance? The psychological motivation here is terrifyingly simple: the addiction to power. Once you believe you are untouchable, the lines blur, and the rules cease to exist. Sources say his letter to the judge, where he spoke of a spiritual reset and his commitment to being a drug-free, non-violent, and peaceful person, rings hollow to many. Yet, for others, the fact that he requested placement in this drug treatment program at FCI Fort Dix suggests a very human, even desperate, need for change. You can't get time off without acknowledging a problem, and for a man who has lived his whole life on a pedestal, that's an admission of weakness he never seemed willing to make before. There is a moment of profound regret in his life, and I don't think it's the crimes themselves, but the fact that he got caught. The true emotional insight lies in the sheer distance between the man who was Diddy, the brand, the myth, the unstoppable force, and the man who is now working a job in the laundry department, hoping to shave off a few months. That fall is devastating, not because of the money or the fame lost, but because of the public, humiliating confrontation with his own broken humanity. One veteran corrections officer was anonymously quoted by a local paper saying, "He walks the yard just like everyone else now. The silence, that's what gets them. He doesn't hear the crowd anymore." That silence, that is where the mask finally cracks. So, where does the chaos end? Right here, in the silence of a federal correctional institution. The world outside is still spinning, the music still playing, the young artist still chasing the next impossible dream. But for one man, the party is over. The image of him laughing with other inmates, spotted on a cold CCTV camera, isn't necessarily a sign of unrepentance. It's a moment of human connection in a sterile world. It contrasts the manufactured chaos of his former life with the forced peace of his new reality. In that moment of shared laughter, stripped of his diamonds and entourages, he is simply one more man paying a debt to society. Redemption is not given, it is earned. And it will take more than a program to truly cleanse the soul. But perhaps, just perhaps, in the absolute quiet of the cell block, with the roar of the crowd finally silenced, the real work can begin. To contrast the chaos of the past with the potential for growth in the future is the only hope any of us have. And for a man who created the entire soundtrack to the chaos, that silence must be deafening. If you believe that the truth, no matter how painful, still matters, subscribe to Pop Break and never look away. Thank you for watching.